Hey guys, so in this video we are going to talk about being solution oriented as opposed of, well, let's just call it what it is, getting bitter when you don't get your way. So let's get into it. To give you a little bit of context, I'm going to have to take you back about 2 months-ish in time when my company decided, or rather when we signed our next major client, which officially marked the starting point for us for going from a Swedish company to an international company. And so over these past months we've been working tirelessly on figuring out ways of internationalizing the product basically and splitting it up, because we're going to have multiple markets and multiple customers and all that good stuff. And the assumption when we started out was that we would offer a high level of customization for our different customers and their needs. And so what the approach has basically been as of basically up until yesterday, at least for me, the mindset has been that, all right, we have absolutely no idea what the specifications are. They're still working all that out. We have no idea how the product is going to look in a year at all, like none whatsoever. I mean, not even the business people know exactly, or or if they do, there's a very poor amount of communication going on between business and engineering at this point in time. But what we do know is that we are going to have multiple customers. So what are we going to optimize for? And so me and my coworkers, we kind of went together and we decided that, all right, we have no idea what's going to happen. All we know is that we're going to have multiple customers. And one thing that is always true when you have multiple customers using the same product is that they are going to have different use cases and they're going to have different needs. Which means that the only sane choice for us at this point in time is to basically copy-paste. We basically copy-paste all of the functionality for each market, and we split it up from being just catering to one single market to being split so that you can have multiple countries or multiple customers with the same functionality. And this makes everybody in engineering feel like you get this bad feeling in your bad taste in your mouth, because copy pasting code, I mean, everybody's been drilled into thinking that that's a bad thing. But this is one of those rare occasions where it's the only sane choice, because we cannot start to make things general at this point in time, because we simply don't know what the product is going to look like in just a few months. In other words, we don't have a specification. We're basically coding blind or trying to be ahead of the curve. And when you want to be ahead of the curve, safe and conservative is the way to go. Trust me, because otherwise you're just going to end up building something that may not actually be the thing that you're looking for. And when you go far down enough that route, it's very tricky for you to break free and recuperate from that. So just yesterday, my boss came. I spoke with my boss, and he said that he's realized that this is not the way to go. We just a little while ago. Apparently, we haven't been informed about this, and I don't really know how it got to this point. But now it seems that we're not going to go for optimization of customization for our customers and so forth. We're going to go for an off-the-shelf solution that everybody uses, and it's the same in every single scenario. And so he kind of like one of my junior coworkers kind of mentioned that, oh shit, we did all this work unnecessarily, and we made all this thing so ugly. And then I look at him and I say, no, actually we haven't. We have done the right thing. We have done the exact right thing. Why? Well, and then I explained to him, you see, when we were forced to make this technical decision that, all right, we have to start working somehow. We have to make this multi-market support, but we have no idea what the product is going to look like. We don't know exactly what the business requirements are going to be. In that scenario, all we really know is that we're going to have different features for different customers, at least a feature toggle, something like that. And instead of trying to make a single code base that can do all of the things, in other words, make it generic, it's much more healthy for us to make a duplication of or port of the same product, make that run, and for a very little short while support code duplication, just to see that it actually works and just to get a feel for our customer. Because it might be that my boss, who is talking about this being a mistake, and the junior now being inspired by that kind of, or being affected by it, doesn't realize that just because somebody's kind of saying that we want an off-the-shelf solution, this is still early stage. The customer hasn't gotten their delivery yet. What happens after when we ship the thing? What happens after 3 months after that? Is the relationship between us and our customer still going to be the same? It's only then you can truly know if you have enough business strength to actually make it a generic solution. Because the thing is that this is not just something that happens at the engineering level, guys. It has to do with the direction of the product. Because if you decide to have a high level of customization for your product, so that you can create custom solutions for each customer, that's a business decision. That's not something engineering that's not an engineering decision. And the same thing goes for having an off-the-shelf solution. It depends on your customer, what their needs are. And at this point in time, I said to my coworker, at this point in time, you don't know which way it's going to go. But I can promise you that had you gone with a generic solution, try to foresee how to structure this, you would have made mistakes. It's because at this point in time, the code duplication we have right now is very easy to slam together into one single product if we wanted to. It is not so easy to go the other route. And he kind of went, yeah, okay, I kind of see your point. And then I told him that the thing is that I don't think it's a good idea to have one single product that can do all these things. I know that our manager is talking about this, and I know that the best thing for us is to have a single implementation, an off-the-shelf solution that caters to every case. But in my experience, it's very rare that that's the way it works out. It's very, very rare. And although I feel a little bit uncomfortable with it, just as you feel a little bit uncomfortable with this current approach, what you should focus on is how you can make the thing that you have right now the best thing that you can make. In other words, you are restricted by the business requirement. You have a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions. You are unfortunately not in an ideal situation, but you have to deal with it. And you have to fight that urge, that thing that you have inside of you, that engineer, if you will, that wants to make everything perfect, and you want to have the ideal scenario, and you kind of feel like you should do things better and so forth. Fight that, because you're doing the right thing. It's just that the situation is requiring you to do something that you feel a little bit uncomfortable with. But if you can push through that and focus on making a good implementation, considering the circumstances, that's the best thing for you, and it's the best thing for the project. I feel like, to me, that's the way to think about it. And I think I kind of reached through to him, and what I want you guys to take away from this is exactly this. You will find yourself in situations sometimes where you don't really know how to build things, like how to do things, and you're forced to do things that you may not feel all that comfortable with doing. But try to ignore that and try to ask yourself the question, all right, what's the safest, best decision I can make given the current circumstances? And in some cases, the best solution for you is actually to make a conscious decision that, all right, this is not the ideal solution, but it's going to work, where we have a high level of confidence that it's going to work, and we can maintain it. Those are the things that should drive you. You should not focus so much on the perfect engineering solution. You should ask the question, is this stable? And is it going to work? Those things are more important than is the code pretty. Trust me on this. You should always go for pretty code if you can, but sometimes you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and then you just have to go for the thing that's going to work. Have a great day.